It is my pleasure to be introducing our wonderful panel to talk about high school credit union branches, what they are, and how to start one. Today, we're going to have three fantastic speakers. They're going to focus on sort of three different aspects of a high school credit union branches, and we're going to kick things off with Kathleen Fay. So Kathleen, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. So Kathleen is the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Credit Union Foundation, and Kathleen is going to get us started today. So Kathleen, they are all yours.
Great. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me back again with your webinars. I appreciate that. So we're going to be talking about high school credit union branches, what they are, and how to start one. And there's going to actually be three presenters, as Hillary said, for this. I'm going to be presenting really from the Pennsylvania Credit Union Foundation's perspective. Then there will be Randi Marmer, who's with TruMark Financial Credit Union, and she's going to talk about it more from the perspective of a credit union. And then Nancy Labricciosa, who's going to talk about it from the educator's point of view, and Nancy is from Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. And our bios are included in your handouts if you're interested in our background. So first, let me tell you a little bit about what a credit union is as a basis, just to give you a little overview. Credit unions are full-service, insured financial institutions. They are service-focused and member-owned, and that's really what differentiates them. Those members then elect a volunteer board of directors that oversee the credit union. So the membership itself is the one who's in control and making the decisions for that credit union. Next slide. The credit unions are different because they are nonprofits. Their earnings are returned back to their members. They don't have typical shareholders, so they can offer lower rates, higher interest on savings, lower fees, and they serve as important trusted resources in communities for financial education. And one way they do this is through student branches. Next slide. The philosophy behind credit unions is people helping people, which is really important to know because that really is the basis for all of the decisions. It's at the core of what all credit unions do. And that's why financial education is so important, a part of what the credit unions offer. They really want to be sure that their members are on solid financial ground. Next slide. I want you to be aware there is within the handouts a list of student-run credit unions in Pennsylvania. So there may be one nearby to your location if by any chance you have an interest and you maybe want to make a contact with another school to go and see how that student-run credit union is operating. Next slide. So a student-run branch is a partnership between a credit union and a school. It gives students the chance to learn money management skills. They can gain hands-on experience in a financial setting, and it can be really beneficial to students who are interested in entering the financial field. Next slide. In most cases, the student branch is run in conjunction with another financial education program. So there might be something being held within the classroom. So the students working in the branch and the general population of students can both participate in financial education programs to benefit all of the student population. Next slide. Most of the student-run branches are just that. They're actually run by the students. So there is an added benefit of developing career skills, math and organizational skills, plus getting a feel for job responsibilities and working with others. So now I'm going to turn it over to Randi Marmer, as I said, Assistant Vice President of Public Relations at TruMark Financial Credit Union. And Randi oversees the operation of 6 student branches. Randi?
Randi, are you there? Can you hear us? It looks like you might be muted. Are you there, Randi?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Wonderful. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. So, educational objectives of an in-school branch. The basis is to increase youth knowledge of financial issues and money management. And our objective is to create a new generation of savers and teaching the importance of delayed gratification, planning, and working toward identified goals. We find that the younger generation wants immediate gratification. So we look at it as, teaching them the importance of savings and having a goal in mind. Next slide. So we also want to create an educational environment in which students will have hands-on experience in a financial setting. Most high school students don't have an opportunity to actually work in a financial institution. And we view the student branches as an educational laboratory, giving them hands-on experience. Next slide. We also want to increase the knowledge of today's youth regarding money management and financial products and services through the use of presentations on savings, budgets, credit, and other financial management topics. And with our student branches, we couple it with in-classroom presentations on topics such as credit scores, the importance of savings, investments, and we even discuss identity theft, all different financial topics. Another objective is to create a new generation of savers by showing them the importance of setting realistic savings goals and offering age-appropriate savings programs. So when we present in the classroom, we try to use analogies that are relevant and age-appropriate to the class that we're conducting the presentation with. We also work alongside with the school administrators to help teachers to meet the state standards and benchmarks without additional training or resources. We also provide a supplement to current math, computer, and social skills through experiences learned while working as a volunteer in the Student Credit Union branch. So students come in and they get to hone their math and computer skills. They learn how to interact with the members of the credit union. Their classmates become members. They are trained at our facility, 40 hours of training. They learn everything that a teller learns. So basically, they have a wealth of knowledge, when they enter into the in-school branch. And we consider them employees at our credit union. We also teach the student volunteers lifelong employment skills such as organization, human relations, cash handling, and teamwork. We help them to resolve problems. It's an opportunity for them to learn how to communicate better, not only with their fellow classmates, but adults, administrators. The superintendent of the school district often visits, so they get a chance to work with all different types of people. We also like to introduce the importance of building a relationship with a financial institution to the schools that we work with. It's a true partnership. We're invited into the school to talk about our careers. If it's a career day, we've been asked to present to the teachers on an in-service day. We talk about various topics, even something as relevant as identity theft today and the scams, and what they can do to prevent being a victim of identity theft. So it's a true partnership to help the students as they transition from school into the next phase of their life. In the case of high school students, as they transition onto college or into the workforce. And the students' objectives, they get to supplement their curriculum with real life experience. It's a good resume builder to have the employment skills listed on their resume. Working with the schools, the credit union resources include equipment, documents, supplies. We interview our potential candidates that are going to work in the credit union. So they go through the interview process, and it's a good exercise for them. They're always supervised by a credit union employee. They're never left alone in the student branch by themselves. They are bonded with insurance. They go over security measures, with our security group at the credit union. And they get an entire financial education. This is not only offered to the students that work there, but the entire student body. And students learn how to market the credit union. They learn how to talk to their classmates about financial products and services, what the value is of having a savings account. Now, what kind of facility space do we need? At TruMark Financial, we have 6 branches, and they're all different sizes. At Plymouth Whitemarsh High School, that was the first branch. We started with a book closet, and, we had 2 computers and a desk. We worked with the staff on a consistent basis because we want to become part of the fabric of the school. We assist with communications to teachers, students, and parents. And we provide time to help the staff there meet with the students on an assembly just to complement what they are learning in their classroom as far as personal finance goes. Most in-school credit unions are student-run or operated by student volunteers. Some high school student-run branches use interns or paid student workers. And a few in-school credit unions are not operated by students. They are simply deposit days to promote the habit of saving. At our credit union, we hire the students within the school and always have a TruMark Financial employee supervise them. We look for teacher recommendations. They must be recommended by a teacher, because it's a commitment, it's a job. We actually pay our student tellers. And we want to make sure it does not conflict with other school activities, because we've seen some students that, are great students and they would be a great student teller. However, they're president of student government, they're on the basketball team, and they have a lot of other obligations. And we typically have them work over their lunch period. That's when the student branch is open. We look for students that are articulate, they have an outgoing personality, and they interact well with others. We have students come in and over their lunch period, so as one comes for 5th period, leaves, the next student comes in for 6th period. Some of our schools have 3 lunch periods, some have 4 lunch periods. So they're usually open 2 hours each day. Our schools are open, student branches, 2 hours for 2 days a week. And in our instance, many of the student tellers work for us over the summer, so it's a nice summer job. They get a lot of experience working in the branches, interacting, and learning a lot of marketable skills, and it looks great on their resume. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Nancy Labricciosa. It's my pleasure. She has been instrumental in the student branch. She helped form the student branch and has continued to be a great asset to the program.
Okay, hello. So we'll just stay on this slide, Hillary. So I am a business teacher at Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. There's approximately 1,500 students at the school. Back in 2005, we added personal finance to our selection of courses. It was an elective course, and we had the enrollment for 2 classes. During the first year, we collaborated with TruMark Financial Credit Union, who offered to come to speak to our classes on topics ranging from investing, credit, human resources, insurance, accounting, and identity theft. And this dovetailed into opening a student branch at PW. The location of our student branch was formerly a closet that was across from one of our cafeterias. We had a grand opening ceremony in September of 2007, and that's what you see pictured. That was actually a book closet. Next slide. PWHS, our vision is to graduate all students with the 21st century skills they will need to be highly successful in their well-chosen post-secondary endeavors. Obviously, academics and career readiness are important, but managing your finances is a life skill. Having finance knowledge lays a foundation for students to build strong money habits early on and avoid many of the mistakes that lead to lifelong money struggles. Having the credit union in-house helps the students build strong money habits such as saving on a regular basis, either weekly or monthly. And having them in-house, it's an easy access. Next slide. Everyone needs to learn about finance. Personal finance is the common denominator to be highly successful in any career. Students who learn personal finance principles early have the most time to apply what they know and getting the most out of their knowledge. Regardless of what career you choose, everyone needs to take control of their own finances. The earlier you start, the better off you'll be. The 3 rules for wealth building is save early, buy and hold, and diversify. We need to get our students in the habit of saving by using the dollar cost averaging method. They need to incorporate the pay yourself concept when they begin their first job. And if they save early enough, then they can reap the benefits of compounding interest. Next slide. The personal finance in our high school. A lot of money problems Americans are facing could have been avoided if financial literacy was taught earlier in school. What I've noticed since introducing personal finance at our school is the increased discussions at home with parents. Parents are willing to discuss salaries, budgets, equity, credit, and general money issues with their teenager when their child prompts the conversation. Instead of having their first encounter of money discussion when a parent completes the FAFSA form, right before college, the discussion of money and finances occur prior to that time having this course. It's actually becoming a dinner conversation rather than a forced conversation. This course is still an elective course, but now we have 8 classes running each year. When I have an open house, all parents are in awe with the curriculum, and they state that the course should be mandatory. Our course has now evolved to include careers, so that our course is now titled Careers and Financial Management. Next slide. Having a student branch credit union. This provides a real-world financial education. It gives the opportunity to our students to take ownership. Parents are able to let go of their child's hand and allow them to manage their own finances. The students get to know our student branch manager and feel very comfortable with asking questions about their accounts. Our branch manager's name is Marcus. He is introduced to our class early on. The students are very comfortable with him, and they're comfortable with going to him for help. At the beginning, when we first opened up the credit union student branch, we had the mindset of, if we build it, they will come. Well, this is not the case. You have to remember you're working with teenagers who are still dependent. They still need guidance and advice. If you decide to open up a student branch, you need to think of it as a partnership. It needs to become part of your school. It needs to be mainstream to the point where you would think it would be odd to not have a credit union in school. Since TruMark Financial has been at PW for over 10 years, it has become mainstream. We do have student tellers as well. They apply for the position and go through a 2-week-long training course. These students assist with helping their peers and promote financial literacy. Our student branch supports our curriculum on so many levels. Being able to refer to the branch when discussing specific lessons has been so helpful to student understanding. Next slide. Our speaker series. Marcus spoke to our classes yesterday, actually. He kicks off the finance portion of the class by introducing banks versus credit unions and all the products they typically offer at both institutions. Now that the students know Marcus, they feel very comfortable with asking him questions about opening a savings account and or a checking account. He discusses how to use a debit card and how to protect themselves from identity theft. He emphasizes pay yourself first, and we tell the students to put away $5 to $10 a week instead of buying that Starbucks coffee or Dunkin' Donuts. We'll give the students a challenge such as a 52-week challenge and or reaching a specific goal such as saving for the senior trip. Having a partnership with TruMark gives us access to various other speakers. They created a speaker series that includes credit reports, credit scores, identity theft, debt, human resources, etc. Speakers will visit many of our other business classes such as accounting, marketing, entrepreneurship, and legal systems. Next slide. Having a TruMark Financial student branch in our school also helps with our assemblies. So the career and financial management class is recommended to juniors and seniors, but we know we need to introduce savings prior to taking the class, so we developed class assemblies. We have one titled Make Savings a Habit, which talks about compounding interest. This is presented to freshmen and sophomores. TruMark representatives are also present to support by not only coming to the presentation, but also offering some type of promotion to pique their interest and to get the young students to be more involved with their own finances. For seniors, we introduce and or reinforce the subject of credit. TruMark Financial Credit Union is also present when we speak to parents at events such as the freshman orientation. Next slide. InHouse Branch. Our InHouse Branch allows our students to create a routine of savings. We take baby steps. It's not easy to ask a teenager to take care of his or her own finances and hope they understand. When I ask who has a savings account, almost all the students raise their hand. But when I ask who manages the savings account, the majority of them state their parents do. Having an in-house branch allows the students to open up a savings account, and a student can manage his or her own account and not the parents. We renovated our school in 2015, and we moved the credit union to the center of our school near the main office, near our school store, near the guidance office, and near our consolidated cafeteria. Now students have easy access to all. Next slide. It's very comforting having the student branch in-house. I have been talking about opening a savings account and checking account and students feeling comfortable. Now I'd like to tell you a story of a senior who wanted to apply what he learned in class regarding credit and wanted to establish credit. He wanted to get a credit card. He was 18. He's an 18-year-old student who had a job. He tried applying to stores such as Target and Wawa trying to get a store card. He tried applying online and he was rejected by all. He was not a member of TruMark at the time because he was already established with a saving and checking account by his parents at another institution. But he decided to talk to Marcus, since I talk about him all the time in class. Lo and behold, Marcus was able to provide the student with a credit card with a $300 limit. The student used this card to buy gas, and he set up online bill pay and set payment reminders on his cell phone. He then was able to begin checking his credit score. He felt comfortable going through this process at school and learned to manage his finances in a safe setting. And his parents were so thankful for our assistance. Next slide. So my personal opinion. At the beginning, it took a while to get the students and parents to trust having a credit union in-house. One issue we had was that there was not another local branch outside of our district for them to go to. If students opened an account at school, they were not able to access it outside of school unless they drove a distance. TruMark solved that problem and opened a local branch in our district about a mile from our school. Once this occurred, our partnership blossomed. TruMark and PW work in tandem to provide hands-on financial literacy. Students are on board, parents are on board, and now we can guide them through the process of opening a savings account, opening a checking account, and using a debit card and writing a check. Then after mastering that, we move on to investing. Students are eager to start investing as well. Parents are still a little hesitant. Students are also eager to start establishing credit. Parents are still skeptical about that. But again, the earlier the students are able to integrate finances into their life, the better off they will be in their future. So in my personal opinion, it's been a success. It took time and persistence to get both students and parents on board, but in the end, it is worth it. Students are thankful for learning and having the ability to apply their knowledge. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. That was a wonderful presentation from all three of you. We did get a couple of questions, plus if I may, I'm going to start with one of my own. Nancy, I posed this one to you. So you have a course in personal finance and work hand in hand with Randi and others at TruMark to come in as presenters of various topics. Just curious, how do you feel, does having sort of that outside expert, how does that impact you as the teacher? Is it sort of like, they listen to them more, or, what would you say about that relationship there and what value that adds?
I think it's a great reinforcement. So if I go over a topic and then having a speaker come in, it reinforces the topic. And also, again, because I just recently had Marcus come in here, because students need to hear it over and over and over again. So if I just present it once and then we move on to another topic, they just forget about it. So having speakers come in and having representatives come in and reiterate and reinforce what I just said, then they start internalizing and start taking advantage of the opportunities that we have here.
That's fantastic. So Randi, a question for you. Have any of the students who opened a share or checking account inquired about other services like loans or CDs? Nancy mentioned the student that was able to obtain a credit card with a relatively low limit. How much do you see in terms of sort of other types of accounts being opened?
Well, I can think, offhand at Plymouth Whitemarsh, actually, I had a student when I first started the branch. He was a regular, saved and everything. And then one day he saw me in the hall and he said, listen, I'd like to open a business account. And I said, John, what kind of business do you have? And he said, well, I mow lawns and do landscaping. And he actually opened a separate account, under his business name and everything. And, that to me was, he was thinking outside the box, and we really made an impact. I later learned from Nancy and some of the other teachers, actually from somebody at the branch, that, when he built up enough money, he had $1,000 saved, he wanted to talk to one of the financial advisors. So, it really shows you how students are listening, even though, a lot of times their parents, don't share all the financial information with them. They're now getting it in school. I know, as Nancy said, they have so many different classes. And it's nice to see that they're taking an interest in and it's creating some financial independence.
That's great. My next question is maybe for either Kathleen or Randi. Maybe we'll pose it to Randi first, and Kathleen, you can jump in. This comes from one of our participants. Marlene asks, our school is very small, just over 200 total students. Do you think this is too small to think of establishing a school credit union?
I honestly do think it's too small. It takes a lot of resources and time. And it costs, honestly, it costs the credit union. It's a large investment on the credit union's part. It costs us over $50,000 to open that book closet, to transform it.
So I don't think that they would have enough students to help it become well, it never becomes profitable, but I don't think they would have the activity there to substantiate having a staff member be there. However, that's not to say credit unions are willing to come in and talk to those students, you know, about savings and budgeting and lead them on the right financial path. And they could even open accounts with online banking and everything. It's so convenient. You know how credit unions are, you know, people helping people, so they would welcome the opportunity to help those students.
And Kathleen, can you maybe speak to just a minute? You know, there are grants that are available from the Credit Union Foundation to assist credit unions that maybe, you know, need help for, you know, a school needs help to make this happen, you know, either in terms of sort of the infrastructure, what have you. You know, would you still recommend that somebody, you know, in a small school would reach out to somebody locally and you know, see what the options are? What are your thoughts there?
I would. I don't know that, as Randi said, I don't know that in that particular case, a student branch on site would be the ideal. However, maybe a savings day where the credit union comes in, you know, once, twice a month and encourages savings in classroom programs in order to educate the students. Credit unions can be great resources, as you've heard, for presenters to talk to the students. That might be the ideal for a smaller population of schools. But the foundation does have grants available to credit unions up to $10,000 to help them to develop a student-run branch within their schools and to help purchase materials of financial literacy for classroom education programs too. So if you do have an interest in any of those kinds of things in your school, your credit union does have access to those funds through my foundation.
And Kathleen, would you say that, who would you say is the right person for a teacher to reach out to? Is it the branch manager? You know, where should they start if they maybe don't have a contact with a credit union in their community?
If there's no relationship at all, they could contact me, particularly since my contact information is there. I could then identify the credit unions that would be within their area and help them to make that connection.
Great. What a wonderful offer. Thank you so much, Kathleen and Randi and Nancy. Really appreciate your time with our participants, and hopefully we'll see even more student-run branches opening in schools across the state.
Thank you, Hillary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.